one course.
1 hour and one chance to impress the judges. Us. The challenges?
To create an unforgettable meal with mystery ingredients we've selected from Food Pantry.
Who will win? Who will it be? Slopped.
Let's meet our two competitors.
Drum roll. First up is Noah Wolf, a food justice educator working in Sunset Park, facing off against Gaby Wolfson, a food justice educator also in Sunset Park.
Let's see what's in those mystery bags.
We have chickpeas,
Plantain,
mixed vegetable,
fusilli pasta,
and Chef Boyardee mac and cheese cups.
These are really tough, and it's a lot of items that we have here. I wonder what these two competitors are going to come up with. What do you think?
I think our two all-stars will be making some great meals with this, but I can't wait to see how they're going to mix those mac and cheese with plantain.
Good luck, and may the force be with you.
There's 1 hour on the timer. Chefs, on your marks, get set, go!
Okay, so I've been thinking about what do I've got. I got an hour to throw this together. Now we've got garbanzos.
Chickpeas, which are also known as garbanzo beans, were first cultivated 11,000 years ago in what is now Turkey and Syria. So they were one of the first crops that helped to develop farming on our planet, an incredibly important and historic crop. They're in the legume family, which is the same family as soybeans and peanuts and beans and peas. Chickpeas are really important in Middle Eastern, African, and Indian cuisines. I'm going to use our chickpeas to make chickpea patties. And then I'm going to make something called shakshuka that is known all over the Mediterranean. It's a tomato-based, saucy, delicious thing, and I'm going to put the mixed vegetables in there. Never done that before, but I think it'll work. We're going to have onions in that, garlic, and then we're going to crack some eggs in there, and the eggs are going to cook in the oven. They're going to be delicious. So let's go. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to chop up my onions. I'm going to chop in my garlic. I'm going to need a lot of onions and garlic because I'm going to use them in the patties as well as in the shakshuka.
Here's what I'm thinking. I am going to make a pasta pizza. Not with pasta on top. Pasta crust pizza. Turn these chickpeas into hummus, and we're going to make a cheesy hummus sauce for our pizza sauce. A cheesy hummus sauce with the cheese from the mac and cheese. Beatable veggies as our topping. Vegetable cheese pasta pizza. All right, first step, let's make this hummus. Okay, so the first thing you need for your hummus are sesame seeds. So we're gonna go ahead and toast these sesame seeds. All right, to toast our sesame seeds, we're just gonna sprinkle some in a hot pan. Now, sesame seeds, or really a lot of seeds and nuts when you're toasting them on the stovetop in a pan, they will burn fast. So you do want kind of a hot, sort of a medium-high temperature we got going on here, but you want to kind of keep moving, swirl them, whirl them, toss them all about. And there's two ways to know when your sesame seeds are done. One, you're gonna start to see them turn a little bit more of a golden brown. Number two, use that nose, okay?
Another trick for the garlic, to get the skin off, you just press lightly. And then the skin, it just loosens the skin and it'll peel right off.
Okay, so I've got my water boiling for the pasta. Now, little trick of the trade. Some people put their salt in right when they put the water on the stove. You gotta salt your water when you make pasta. It's true, you want a nice, flavorful pasta. But you don't wanna put your salt in until right before you put the pasta in, because what happens when you boil the water? What happens to the water? Well, it's just, some of it starts evaporating. That's when you see the steam in the air. And when the water evaporates, it actually changes the ratio of salt to water. So the only way to be able to control how salty your water is when the pasta goes in is by not salting until that, right before that pasta goes in. So let's wait until this comes to a boil. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a lid on it.
All right, our pasta dropped a few by the flame, but our pasta is in, and we're gonna let that go for 8 minutes, and then we'll test it out. I'm gonna stir to make sure it's not sticking to the bottom. I'm also gonna try to get these pasta away from the flame, just in case. All right, so we'll check back on that in 8 minutes. We're at 47, so at 40, we're gonna check and see if it's done.
All right, so we toast the sesame seeds. Anytime you're toasting something, adds a little color, but it really brings out the flavors. So when we make the tahini sauce, we pour them in there, and we're gonna break them down. When we puree these, what it's gonna do is bring out the oils from the sesame seeds. You might have heard, some of you might have cooked with sesame oil before. Yeah, we're trying to bring out our sesame oils here. I think that's gonna give us a really great nutty, toasty flavor that's gonna be great in our hummus and great in our cheesy hummus sauce. So let's go ahead and blitz these and break them down.
All right, I'm gonna check on our pasta. So the trick with pasta, I said 8 minutes. It might take a little bit longer, but you wanna test it at about, usually, I mean, it depends on the type of pasta because all different pastas are different shapes, so they cook differently. For this one, I'm saying 8 minutes just to be safe, because what you want with pasta, you want it to be what's called al dente in Italian, which means basically that it still has some firmness to it. It's not super soft and just kind of melting in your mouth. It still has a little bit of texture. And al dente, the etymology, the root of it means to the tooth. So it's like you want to still be able to bite into it, right?
Pasta, fusilli pasta. So many different kinds of pasta, right? Fusilli, penne, spaghetti, angel hair, cavatelli, gnocchi, right? These are all different shapes and sizes and ways of making a same basic thing. Pasta is it's a dough that's made usually from flour and water. Those are things you gotta have. And some people will add a little egg. Gives you a little stretchiness, a little extra flavor, a little extra protein. And often you'll put egg in pasta doughs that need to hold something inside because you want them to stretch more, like tortellini or ravioli. Okay, so fusilli though, pretty classic, probably made just flour and water basically. Used to be a food eaten, comes from Italy, Greece, the peninsulas of the Mediterranean. It's been around for a very long time. Just basically a flat dough that's made and shaped in different shapes. It used to be only for richer people because of how much time it takes to roll out and knead and shape and prepare and actually even just harvest and work with and process the wheat, right? But as more machines came around, it became a staple food and actually became very popular for sailors because you can dry it. And when you're out at sea, there's no refrigerator, right? There's no ice box. There's no grocery store. So you need foods that don't have moisture, that aren't gonna get moldy. Pasta, really amazing for that. Just an incredible food, so versatile, with such an ancient and long and amazing history. And it's also, I would say, a sibling to bread. And I love bread, I'm a bread maker, and so I'm really excited to work with pasta today.
The pasta, I'm gonna put it inside the patties. I'm going to cook it and then process it a little bit in the food processor, not a lot, so you still have a little bit of texture. And then I'm gonna put it in the patties. I don't know, I'm not sure if that's the one thing I'm a little bit nervous about. I just wasn't sure what to do with that pasta, even though, you know, I've cooked many things with pasta. But in combination with the other ingredients, I wasn't sure. We also, of course, have the pasta that's in the Chef Boyardee. And so what I'm gonna do with that, I think I'm gonna dress it, make my own cheese sauce, add the Chef Boyardee part to it, and add that to my patties as well.
All right, so let's take a look back over here. This is where we're at now with our tahini. So we've broken this down sort of into a little bit of a grainy paste, right? Our next thing is gonna be, we're gonna add a little water, a little oil, just to try to get it creamier. Now we want a little lemon. And we're gonna just start making this into a creamy tahini sauce. And you'll see as I add the water, we're gonna get a little bit of a nice, creamy, pale coloration to it. All right, we got some lemon. Here, I like to use this lemon squeezer so that way we won't get any seeds in whatever we're squeezing it into. Let's go ahead and use a big lemon. Barely fits in the squeezer. All right, I'm gonna wrangle this with 2 hands or 1 hand. Let's see if I do it. All right, I think I got it. Just really test my hand strength here. Let's see what we got. Oh my God, such a big lemon. Look at that juicy lemon. Oh my God, wow, okay. Now let's make sure we get everything in there. See, I got a big old wallop up top. Let's knock it back in. Let's make this sauce.
All right, so our onions are sizzling. They've been sauteing in the pan. We're gonna add some coriander. Some paprika. This is a little bit of a spicy paprika, so it's got a bit of a kick. And some cumin. And of course, gonna add a little bit of black pepper and a hefty amount of salt. This is my robot black pepper dispenser. And here comes my salt. All right, I'm gonna stir that in. Let all those spices and seasoning cook into the oil and the onions. And then we'll be ready for our tomatoes.
All right, while those are pureeing, I'm gonna go ahead and get our pasta going because we got an hour here. So we gotta be doing multiple things at once. It's a real multitasking contest.
All right, so I'm gonna put my can of chickpeas and put that in the food processor. I'm gonna put some of that onion I chopped up before and some of the garlic. We're gonna whir it up. Right, so I decided I'm just gonna whir up that Chef Boyardee mac and cheese cup. We're gonna put it in with the chickpea fritter. We're gonna see what a cheesy chickpea fritter tastes like. The other thing to think about is if these are actually even gonna hold together when I go to fry them. So we gotta make sure that it's smelling really good. So all that onion, garlic, and chickpeas. I put paprika and cumin and coriander in here. Alright, let's get a couple of mint leaves. I'm mostly going to use that at the end as a garnish, but I'm going to put a few in there now too. Alright, I think that will definitely hold together, so that's pretty cool. Super sticky, probably in part because of that pasta.
And a lot of us working in kitchens like to use these little deli cups. They're great. You know exactly how much they are. Each deli cup comes in a different size, 1 cup, 2 cups, quarts. So we know what we got. They're great. You can stack them. So, and it's also, they're really light. So it's easier than a big jug of oil. So I got my olive oil in here. And let's go ahead and pour some of that in. Go ahead and dump our chickpeas. There's our nice creamy tahini sauce that we made. That's just toasted sesame seeds, a little oil, a little lemon, a little salt, a little water. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and blitz this.
Listen to that sizzle. All right, I'm adding my tomato. All those whole plum tomatoes. I'm gonna mash them up in the pan. Oh, I was gonna add the veggies, but I guess the veggies are going in after. That's okay. All right. Gonna mash them up. Mix it in. This pan skillet is a little bit small. I think we're gonna be all right. Normally, what you would have with your shakshuka, you would have some crusty bread that you can dip in it. So gonna fry up those plantains, and those are gonna also rim the edge of the dish, and they can be used to dip in as well.
Plantain. Might look like a banana to some people, especially as it ripens. Not a banana. Some people call it a cooking banana because it's so starchy, you have to cook it before you eat it. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with a tummy ache even once it's ripened. With a regular banana, when it ripens, a lot of that starch converts to sugars. Super sweet, tasty, eat it raw. Thought to know, really, you should be cooking this no matter what.
All right, so for the plantains, we're gonna just slice them up. So this one is still pretty not ripe. The other was a bit overripe.
One of the most classic ways of making it is using the green plátano, the plátano verde, and making something that they call mangú in DR, in the Dominican Republic, mofongo in Puerto Rico, or fufu de plátano in Cuba. And the reason there's these dishes that are so similar on all the islands is because it was actually brought over by folks who were brought over from Africa in the transatlantic slave trade. And they used to make a smashed yuca dish in Africa, or smashed yam dish in Africa, and that translated into this dish with the plantains, with the plátanos. So another reason to thank and remember all the cultural heritage we have that was brought over by folks who were brought over here against their will. So thank you to them, and hopefully we can honor that today. And here we go. Just carefully, we don't want to burn ourselves. Just gonna drop a few of these babies in there. Little baby plantain slices. All right, so starting to get a nice golden color. I did try one of these, and as I suspected, they're a little bit still underripe to be maduros. So they're not enough of the starches have converted into sugars yet. So we still have a little bit of that. They're delicious, but it's closer to what, you know, a tostone, right? That's still got a little more of a savory, less sweet flavor. So I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let them sit on the paper towels to just get a little bit of oil out. And then I'm gonna toss them while they're still hot, just a little bit of sugar to add a tiny bit of sweetness. And see if I can get, oh yeah, see we got a lot still in there. It's definitely coming through. Let's see how much of it we can get out. If we can get a pretty good bowl full of cheese sauce. I think they're pretty generous with the cheese in this Chef Boyardee. So let's see the cheese sauce. We'll have to talk later about what's actually in this cheese sauce.
Oh, so Chef Boyardee is our last ingredient. Chef Boyardee mac and cheese cups.
Founded by a guy named Héctor Boyardee. When he started his company, he renamed it because he wanted people here who didn't know how to pronounce Italian names to be able to understand how to pronounce his. So he changed it to what they call a phonetic spelling. That's like when you write it the way it sounds.
So Hector Boyardee actually was the head chef at the Plaza Hotel, a well-known hotel here in New York City. After that, he moved to Ohio to open his own restaurant in the 1920s. And he then kept having customers asking for his tomato sauce. They wanted to make his pasta at home with his tomato sauce, which he originally sold in milk cartons.
People loved the restaurant, and they wanted to get people became really interested. How do I make spaghetti with tomato sauce? Now that might seem like something we all know really well now. Spaghetti and tomato sauce, classic recipe in the United States at this point. Back then, there were not as many Italian people. This was around when like the population of Italian folks emigrating here was really increasing rapidly. Italian food wasn't a big thing, so a lot of people didn't know how. So he came up with an idea, him and his family came up with the idea of sending people home with, and this was like the first pre-prepared meal, with a can of tomato sauce, uncooked pasta, and just a jar of cheese, shredded cheese. People would take that home, cook the pasta, throw the pasta sauce on top, and throw some cheese in there. Ta-da. So, and this is what I really want to get at, is that the real transformation of this company from a local company in Columbus, I think later in Pennsylvania too, was World War II. And we had to feed so many people, so many soldiers and nurses and radio operators and pilots and all these people and all the farmers and everyone who was involved in the war effort. They had to feed so many of them so quickly that they hired as one of their people, the Chef Boyardee, to create these canned foods. Actually, canned food became much more common and popular after World War II. And they turned the factory into a 24-hour-a-day factory, pumping out 250,000 cans of these like tomato and pasta dishes that could be shipped around the world to soldiers. All right, between a little gravity and a little elbow grease, we managed to get a bit of cheese, got a nice little bowl of cheese. Let's throw that right in our hummus to keep working on this, putting together this, it's almost got like an eggy color, right? All right, so I'm gonna pour this all in and blitz it again, and we'll start to have our hummus cheese sauce come through.
All right, our shakshuka has been simmering. It's time to crack in some eggs. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Woo! All right, we've got our crack. Don't want to get any shell in there. Oh, nice. I'm gonna make a little divot for the next one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just make a little bit of space. I forgot to do it with the first one, but that's okay. We got 2 more coming. So just make a little space in there. And the eggs, when we put them in, they are going to poach. And I'm gonna stick them in the oven to cook. Nice.
Alrighty, so we finished here we got our drained, beautiful fusilli. But if we want this to hold together, look, it's loose, right? If we want this to hold together, and we'll see what happens, this is definitely an experiment. But if we want this to work, we need it to bind together, we need it to stick together. And so I'm gonna use eggs as a binding agent. It's the protein in eggs that helps things stay together. Eggs are filled with protein, and just how it's proteins that makes our muscles. The proteins that are in bread as well, they're in what's called gluten. You've probably heard the term gluten. Gluten is the protein strands that we can't see with our naked eye in bread, and they're what holds the bread. It's what gives the bread that nice chewy flavor. And these eggs are gonna bind, hopefully, bind our pasta together. We're gonna throw a little cheese in there. That's also got some protein, and they're both gonna give it a little extra golden brown look and some nice extra cheesy flavor. So let's go ahead and make our cheese sauce.
Get our shakshuka. Oh, it's heavy. Leave it in there for 5 minutes or so, and we'll check on it.
All right, so I'm gonna chiffonade a little basil. That's when you cut the thin strips. I'm gonna chiffonade. I like it to do it by rolling the basil into little tubes. And then we're just gonna chiffonade a little basil here to throw into our egg and cheese sauce. I think that'll be, that way our pasta crust will have a little basil-y flavor. All right, our pasta's cooled off a bit. Let's go ahead and dump our eggy cheese mixture in there. I think I'm gonna throw just a little bit of extra cheese in, and then let's stir that up. Now we are going to add in our pasta. All right, pasta in there, I'm just gonna shake that out. Now we wanna have room for all of our other ingredients. What we're gonna do, we've cleaned this pan, and we're gonna actually use this pan smushing down into there to help shape it. All right, so first I'm actually going to turn the pan on, and we're gonna just kind of get the bottom. I'm gonna go with a kind of a medium-low temperature here. We just kind of want to get it cooked just a little bit extra. Hopefully we can start getting it to hold together a bit.
All right, let's check on those eggs. Ooh, looking good. It looks like the whites, yeah, the whites are firm. Okay, so they're ready to be taken out.
So first, we're gonna take our hummus. We're gonna put a little layer. We're just gonna sauce our pizza just like you normally would. We're gonna put a layer of our basil, cheesy basil, right? So we got that mac and cheese in there. So we got our cheesy basil hummus. I can still smell those toasted sesame seeds. It smells so good. So that is our sauce. That'll help. It's gonna give us some flavor and obviously also add a little moisture so we don't have a dry pizza. No one wants a dry pizza. Then we got our veggies. Here it is. This is what I was looking for, that nice caramelization, crispy crust.
All right, I only have 1 minute left. Taking these cakes off. They're kind of falling apart, to be honest, but I'm taking them off. They gotta go, and I gotta get that shakshuka out. Plate it up. All right, here we go, down to the wire. My shakshuka turned out really good. The eggs are looking good and firm. Everything looks delicious, so I'm gonna plate it up.
I'm just gonna slide our plantains in. We want them to be showing, but we also want them to be buried inside. that gooey cheese. Yum. So that way you can easily slice right into it. You also get that nice, you can really see those plantains and you don't overcook them in the oven.
What I've prepared for you today, we have shakshuka. So we have an egg and it's a mixed vegetable shakshuka. I used the frozen vegetables in there along with tomato and onion and garlic, as well as fried ripe plantains and a chickpea mac and cheese fritter.
The sweet plantain basil pizza with a cheesy hummus sauce and a fusilli pasta crust. Topped with a caramelized mozzarella.
Shakshuka has nice flavor. Definitely achieved the good balance of spices, and the amount of garlic and onion is good. And actually the mixed vegetables, it's kind of nice. It provides a little bit of a texture. Let's try the egg. Very hot. All right. Your egg is right on the edge. It's pretty well cooked. It's almost a little bit overcooked. I would have liked a little bit more of a runny yolk, but it's pretty good. I'm curious how the plantains will taste with it. That's pretty good. And then this chickpea fritter. The chickpea fritter actually has stayed crispy.
All right, we'll just do one bite here. Get a good angle. Oh. So good. All it needs now is some hot sauce.